This is Steve Ridgel, and I want to talk today about what I've learned about life from my brother in law, Robert Frank, who just died from complications from a massive heart attack. It's always funny when people die, you talk about a lot of things, but I always think for some people that when you talk about how they lived, you want it to do something for you. You want it to motivate you. You want it to help you live better. And so, Robert, as I reflect on your death, I want to thank you for what I'm learning about how to live my life. So, here's a couple of things I want to share. Number one, boy, Robert was 80. Now, some of you are thinking, 80, wow, that's old. But here's the deal, Robert never gave in to age. Never. He never understood he was old. He never understood he was getting old. Robert worked all the time, worked right up till he couldn't work, just in the last week. Robert did stuff. He was active. He did physical work. He taught his Bible class. He was just so involved. Robert never really acted his age. Now, he didn't look his age either. But maybe I've wondered if that's because he was so active, not living to his age. When everybody else would say, you're 70, be this way. You're 75, be this way. You're 80, be this way. Not Robert. He just kept right on going. And number two, Robert never gave in to sickness. And boy, I appreciated that. It's not a surprise that he died of a heart attack because he's had heart issues for maybe 10 years. I mean, my wife and I used to say that Robert had 9 lives. Boy, hospital visits and heart attacks and surgeries and stents. And here's the thing about Robert. He'd get over it. And, you've seen those people that, well, they come close to death and they quit living. Boy, Robert came close and got out and just made more out of life. Man, a week out of the hospital, he'd be going strong again. He'd be doing and active. And somebody says, well, you know what? He died at 80. Maybe if he'd have taken it easier, he'd have lived to 81 or 82? And for Robert, I'm not sure some of that would have been living. He wanted to live life. And the third thing I've really learned from Robert about how to live my life as I think about his. Well, Robert really poured himself into other people. I mean, he really took care of my sister. I mean, boy, he provided for her, and if she was sick, he helped her through it, and he stayed with her, and he cooked and he cleaned if he needed to. And boy, he loved his 3 girls, and he took care of them, and he doted on those grandkids. Boy, he loved his grandkids. Loved his Bible class. Loved his church. Robert really put himself into people, and it dawns on me that I'll do really well for the rest of my life, whether that's 3 months, 6 months, or 10 years, if I'll learn to live kind of like Robert did on some things. So, here's my declaration in honor of my brother-in-law, Robert Frank. I'm not going to give in to age. I'm not going to give in to sickness. And while I live, I am really going to live. And you know what dawns on me? That's pretty good advice for every one of us. So thanks, Robert, for just not living your age, not living your sickness, and really living your life. It meant a lot to me, and it means a lot to others.